welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Chantek's Multimedia live presentation for this 15th day of February 2021, streaming directly to your device all the way from Brisbane. Hey, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Of course, it was the Valentine's Day weekend, and of course, there was so much happening, and we could see from here the river was full of cruisers, that all kinds of small to, smaller two-person boats all the way to the yacht. The big, huge yacht where we know there was an Indian function that took place on there as well. So wonderful to see that, the weekend's gone past and it did go well. And of course, we know about the new cases in Victoria and of course the emerging cases in New Zealand. So we will all talk about that and take a look at that. But first of all, let's take a very quick look at what the weather has in store with us. And with that, let's welcome to Dilraj.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 30 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with a very slight chance of shower. Wind southerly 15 to 25 km per hour, tending southeasterly 20 to 30 km per hour, and then becoming light in the late evening. Fire danger is high. Sun protection is recommended till 10 to 4 in the evening, and UV index is predicted to reach 12, that is extreme. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that update, Dilraj. Yes, it's been a wonderful weekend weather-wise as well. We had a little bit of rain, slight drizzle, which took place, but apart from that, it was all very, very good. Well, right now, moving on, let's take a look at what's happening locally. And of course, locally, the big news is that cluster in Victoria. So, what's happening there? Let's take a quick look.
There is no evidence from our audits that he has raised this with our health team or our operational team. But again, this argument of he said, she said, that's been our report. Again, no one is going to win from this argument where we're constantly having a battle on these matters which are so private for somebody.
Well, of course, we know that it is very, very important, and whether the controversy from the hotel, whether it is private, but of course, everyone's health comes very first. So, Victoria has been declared a hotspot by how many different states? Let's have a look.
I declared Greater Melbourne a hotspot from the Commonwealth point of view last night for an initial period of 3 days. We will be looking at that on Monday again to see what has happened over the weekend with the substantial work that is going on. That allows mostly an ability for Victoria to ask for Commonwealth assistance. So that's in relation to aged care support, including one worker, one site issues, as well as asymptomatic testing or testing within aged care facilities. And I will stress that there is no link at the moment with aged care facilities in Melbourne, but of course we need to keep a close eye on that going forward. I have full confidence in the Victorian setup for quarantine. They run a very good quarantine system, as indeed all of the other states and territories are doing in their ways. As I've talked through here before, we've had various reviews of the hotel quarantine system, which has stood us in very good stead since March last year, when it became compulsory for any arrivals from overseas to go into hotel quarantine at the end of March 2020. Since that time, we've had well over 200,000 people come through that system. We've had well over 3,000 positive cases of coronavirus, including some of these variants of concern in the recent weeks, which we are tracking. We've had these very small number of breaches, but of course we can always learn from what happens, and that continuous quality improvement approach is what we're taking.
And of course, when you look at the proactive and the steps that have been taken, many people say that this might be going a little bit too far, but now that the Commonwealth declared that, with that Commonwealth declaration, Victoria is in line to get that assistance that he was talking about. So, the new variant, which is still unknown. And like everyone said, that why would we have this such a tough restriction? But I think it is getting in hard, getting in early. That seems to be the way to conquer that, as we will see later on as well. Well, right now, what's happening with the vaccine? Well, Australia was supposed to be way ahead of the pack, way ahead in line, but we are still waiting for our rollout, even though checks and balances have been put in place. So let's hear from a minister to see what's actually happening. When can we expect this vaccine?
The vaccine rollout is on track to commence with first jabs in late February. I think that's very important news. I've been speaking with Pfizer over the weekend. As many of you may know, we were with CSL and the Prime Minister on Friday, and I'll be discussing international arrivals with AstraZeneca over the course of the next 24 hours. All of these three lines of support are travelling well. In particular, many have asked about arrivals. You can understand that because this is the most precious of cargoes, we are being cautious with our details in a highly competitive global world, as we saw during a time of shortages of masks and of test kits, and so we are being cautious with that, but I can also confirm that the vaccines are scheduled to land in Australia before the end of the week, if not earlier.
So before the end of the week, if not earlier, but it's been a little bit late coming, but as has been promised that it has gone through all the checks and balances and has got all the necessary approvals, and it has been given the go-ahead by the medical board and the authorities. It was something that we will look forward to and see how it goes and progresses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this segment where we'll be talking about GOPIO. GOPIO stands for Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, and we have our head office based in New York, and this is a truly global organization representing the Indian diaspora worldwide, and we have chapters throughout all major cities in the world. And right here in Brisbane we have GOPIO Queensland. GOPIO Queensland has been a very active chapter which has launched the iconic India Day Fair, and everyone knows about India Day Fair. We will talk about that in detail in another segment, but today we're going to be looking at GOPIO Queensland's upcoming function, which is the fundraising dinner to be held on the 19th. And to talk about that, we'd like to welcome Usha Chandra to the show. Usha has been involved with GOPIO since its inception. She has been one of the past president and always very active whenever it comes to running the functions or events. And one of the most important aspect of any event is funds. Without funds, nothing happens. So she looks after the sponsorship and that part. So ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, let's welcome Usha to the show. Welcome to the show, Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
And wonderful to see that GOPIO Queensland is holding this fundraising dinner quite early in the year this year. So why is this being held?
This fundraising dinner is being held to raise funds for our iconic India Day Fair.
Well, iconic India Day Fair, as we know, is a big event and everyone loves to come to that. So, for this function, what is your target? What sort of funds do you aim to raise?
We are targeting to raise $30,000 from this fundraising dinner.
Well, that is quite a nice amount of funds if you can raise that, because we know that India Day Fair costs a lot. So that would go towards the much needed funds to host India Day Fair. Well, talking about your fundraising dinner, where is it being held?
This is being held at Michael's Function Centre in 8 Miles Plain.
It is a wonderful venue, and Michael does a beautiful job of the food. His catering is very good. People do like that venue, and you might later on we'll talk about parking details there as well. So for now, if people want to come, as I was told by someone that there's only limited number of tickets left, so how can people get the tickets?
Yes, there's only 20 tickets left. They can either book on Eventbrite, which is the preferred method, or contact one of our team members.
While it is wonderful to see that there's limited number of tickets left, it is a night of night where to be seen, and the who's who of Brisbane are coming. So make sure that you are there. If you haven't booked your tickets yet, please do so. So looking at the night, of course, we know that GOPIO Queensland always puts on very high class and quality events. So what could be the highlights of the night?
We have some Bollywood dances, two Bollywood dances, children's performance and adults, and Bhangra United is performing a Bhangra dance, and we have got some live music as well.
Well, of course, light music is wonderful, and the Bhangra dances are as well. So do you have any activities going towards actually raising the funds?
Yes, we definitely have. We have got over 20 raffle items and about 5 to 6 auction items as well. So that will be our main fundraising activity for the evening. So bring your cash, and we'll have FPOS available as well. So we'll be selling the raffle tickets and auction items as well.
Okay, so you're going to have auctions and raffles to go towards the raising funds for the night, which is wonderful to see, because it is a fundraiser and it has been marketed as such as well. So people can come prepared. Oh, that's wonderful. So looking forward to the night. And how would people come? Do they come in dressed traditionally, or business attire, formal, or what would that entail?
People can dress whatever attire they like. We would recommend to have evening attire and traditional Indian attire as well, so they can choose whatever they would like to wear.
Well, that is of course everyone's choice what they wear, but Indian attire or traditional Indian attire would be encouraged. So would there be any prizes for the best dressed?
Not at this time, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have to get out my best suit. Okay, so of course we have been talking about the much needed funds that are needed to host India Day Fair. So as a ballpark figure, how much funds are actually required or needed to raise to host India Day Fair?
To host India Day Fair, we need over $100,000. So that's why we are doing this fundraising dinner.
Right, $100,000, and you said you plan or aim to get about $30,000 from this fundraiser. What are your other sources of revenue for India Day Fair?
We have got sponsors like the government sponsors as well, Brisbane City Council. We get some funds from our sponsors like Springfield City always is there to support us. We have got quite a few sponsors which have been supporting our iconic event for the last several years.
So that's wonderful to see that you've got some government grants and some of course sponsors, and you would be probably selling some stall spaces there to raise some funds. But this fundraiser, what sort of support have you got so far from the community and sponsors?
Yes, we have got a few sponsors. We would have liked to have more sponsors. Our main platinum sponsors are Springfield City Group. They have always, as I said, they have always been supporting India Day Fair and GOPIO Queensland. Our new supporter for platinum sponsor is New Style Developments. They have given $5,000 as well. Our gold sponsor is BiPAL, which is a new sponsor this year, and New Style Dream Style Decorations is our gold sponsor. They've always been doing decorations for our iconic India Day Fair plus other GOPIO events. Then our silver sponsors are Gaura Travels, who has been supporting India Day Fair for the last 6-7 years. We have got Sleep Health, which is a new sponsor, which is a silver sponsor. George Hartnett Funerals, who have always been there supporting. Special thanks to Martin Gomes, he is always there. Bronze sponsors are Dosa Hut and Culture, which have been new sponsors. Dosa Hut has been supporting our India Day Fair for a long time. We have got a few more sponsors who will be joining us very shortly as well, and we have got multiple raffle prizes. over 25 raffle prizes, and we would like to thank all our sponsors and all our raffle donors as well. And hopefully we'll make over $30,000. As I said, that's our target.
So it is wonderful to see that you've got some wonderful sponsors there. Those are hard from Mount Gravatt, as you mentioned. It's quite a wonderful sponsor, and I think last year you had your poster launch there as well. So, just in conclusion about this fundraiser, the event, is there anything that you'd like to end in conclusion?
Yes, definitely. We would like to sell that 20 tickets which are available. So please help us to make and reach our target of $30,000. We would like to thank all our team members, our sponsors, our raffle prize donors, and thank you so much, Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio, for your continued support as a media sponsor.
And we'd love to do that all the time, because it is a very, very good cause, and we always need to get behind events like that. Wishing you all the very best with the fundraising activities. I do hope that you reach your target, because it is a big event, India Day Fair, and of course it needs all that effort to put together, everyone working hard behind the scenes to make it happen. So those 20 tickets that you'll be talking about, they will be grabbed like anything. It is coming on to be a event to be looked after for, where people are talking about it, everyone wants to be there. So if you are planning on that, or if you put it on a backbench, do it now, otherwise you might miss out. So once again, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing that information with us. So ladies and gentlemen, don't forget GOPIO Queensland's fundraising dinner at Michael's Oriental on the 19th, and of course tickets are available on Eventbrite. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Tanvi Goyal, PR of GOPIO Queensland.
And I'm Usha Chandra.
GOPIO Queensland invites you to India Day Fair fundraising gala dinner.
Get ready for a fun-filled evening of mesmerizing music with delicious food.
Raffles, auctions and some special surprises.
And you can dress in your Indian attire or come with your formal attire.
And tickets are limited, so please book immediately to prevent any disappointment.
And you can book via Eventbrite, and the link is www.eventbrite.com.au/India Day Fair fundraising.
Thank you to all our sponsors. Our platinum sponsors are Springfield City Group and New Style Developments.
And our gold sponsors are Dream Style Decorators and Bipel.
And silver sponsors are Rise, Sleep Health and Professionals, and Gora Travel.
And very special thanks to Brisbane City Council, MP Peter Russo, ECCQ, and MP Miss Leanne Leonard.
And also our exclusive media partners, Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio.
And for a fun-filled night, raising much-needed funds for GOPIO's India Day Fair. See you all there.
There. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, the interview with Usha Chandra from Globe Realty, and of course representing GOPIO today. And it's wonderful to see that the fundraiser event is coming along and taking a very, very good shape by the looks of it. And of course, there's limited number of tickets left, as has been told. So, if you have been thinking about it, make sure that you do book ahead and be seen there with the crowd and supporting the cause, as we know that GOPIO supports many community organizations, and this is one time when we need your support. So, please do come and support GOPIO. Well, right now for some international news, as we know, let's go to New Zealand and hear from the Prime Minister to see what's actually happening there with the new cases.
These new cases pose questions our public health staff are working around the clock to answer. We don't yet have a complete picture of the potential source of the infection and spread if any, beyond one household. And we are waiting for the genome sequencing and serology, both of which will provide important pieces of this puzzle. Regardless, Cabinet has chosen to respond with a cautious approach that has served us so well previously, and with the working assumption, just in case it could be one of the more transmissible strains of COVID, that we need to act with a high degree of caution around. The most important lessons we've learned from the times that we have stamped out flare-ups successfully before, and from cases we've seen overseas where outbreaks have gotten away, is the need to go hard and early.
Of course, going in hard and going in early is what's been happening, and even when we look at Victoria and everywhere, that seems to be the trend. That's the way to go. Going in hard, going in early, and getting it done. So, let's hear from the health department there in New Zealand and see what have they discovered so far of the cases.
Our system has swung into action. We are gathering all of the facts as quickly as we can, and the system that served us so well in the past is really gearing up to do so again. Our decisions from this point onwards will be informed by the science and the knowledge that we develop over the coming hours and days. We do have a plan for when things like this happened, and we will be making decisions based on that plan and based on the information that we gather.
And it's all based upon the information, which is very, very important. Well, right now, still on the international front, let's go to US, where, well, ex-President Trump has evaded that acquisition and the impeachment, the second impeachment charges. And of course, here's a criticism which he received right after being acquitted.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president. But after intense reflection, I believe the best constitutional reading shows that Article 2, Section 4 exhausts the set of persons who can legitimately be impeached, tried, or convicted. It's the president, it's the vice president, and civil officers. We have no power to convict and disqualify a former office holder who is now a private citizen.
So there you are, and of course that is breaking news. The other news and the international front where people are keeping an eye is the Myanmar protest, and of course we know there's heavy armed forces and everything's on the street as the protests continue. So there's the scenes from Myanmar, and of course that protest continues. Well, right now let's join our Premier with the updates right from Brisbane.
Today I just want to give the brief COVID update, which of course is really good news for Queensland. So once again we've had 0 new cases. So our total cases are 1,320. We have 7 active cases. and in the last 24 hours we've had 5,656 tests. So once again, that's great news, and Queenslanders, please continue to go and get tested, especially if you are feeling sick. So I might just ask Gary to come over, and the Deputy Premier and the Treasurer. And today we're here to showcase to Queensland what Rheinmetall is doing for this region. I was very clear that I wanted to bring more manufacturing to Queensland, and that is exactly what we are doing. This landmark Milveco headquarters here, the production line that's happening, opens up this gateway between Toowoomba and Ipswich and the Gold Coast to really supercharge our defence industries in this state. This is something my government has been passionate about. We want more manufacturing to be done here in Queensland. We want things to be made here in Queensland. But I also want to ensure that our future generation capitalises on the opportunities that it presents. At the last election, we went to the election talking about local schools and local jobs. Well, here in Ipswich, this is a centre point. This has the opportunity to create thousands of jobs. Already 350 people are working on this site. This centre did not close during COVID. Manufacturing is alive and well here in Queensland, and it is going to continue to go ahead in years to come. So today we've got students from a whole range of schools around the region here, and I wanted to show them firsthand so they can see the opportunities that manufacturing presents to them. Now we've got advanced manufacturing, but there are a whole range of jobs, whether it's welders, whether it's painters, whether it's electricians. There are already 11 apprentices on site as well. But there's even more opportunities, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, partnering with universities and partnering with TAFE. This is going to mean that our defence industries are going to continue to grow in this state, and the opportunities for Queensland are real, and the opportunities will continue for decades to come. So today the Deputy Premier will go into a bit more detail, but Gary and I have signed an MOU because we want to go for the next phase 3 of the contracts with the federal government. So what that means is the Queensland government is once again partnering with Rheinmetall to say that we want to expand even further here and build even more vehicles here in Queensland. The next phase is a $27 billion contract which could deliver 450 infantry fighting vehicles for the Australian Army. Now, I think we have got the credits on the board. We have the capacity, we have the technology, and we have the centre to do this expansion. So we will be fighting very hard for Queensland. We'll be fighting hard to say to the Australian government, this is where it should go. Now we're in competition with Victoria, and we all like a healthy competition, and we were able to secure the boxes to be built here, and now we are going to fight every step of the way along with Rheinmetall to help secure this next phase, and it would mean 500 additional jobs on top of the jobs that are already here. So look, I'll hand over to Gary, and then the Deputy Premier, the Treasurer will say a few words, and then we're happy to take some questions. But this is about opportunity. The next 4 years are years of action. They are absolutely years of action. I said I wanted manufacturing to be more here in Queensland, and that is exactly what I'm doing, and I want our students and our workers to benefit because there is dignity in having a job, and there is absolutely dignity in making sure that people can live close to home and have a long-term secure job.
Thank you, Premier. Premier, Deputy Premier, Treasurer, Ministers of Queensland Government, guests, welcome to the Military Vehicle Centre of Excellence. I am delighted that we've been able to sign the Memorandum of Understanding here today at Milveco, signifying and reaffirming the strong partnership that the Queensland Government and Rheinmetall have really entered into since 2017, and today we are seeing the realisation of that partnership and what it means for the Australian Defence Force in terms of designing and building world's best capabilities, but also for being a strong contributor to the Queensland and Australian economy, made even more critical as a result of the COVID situation last year, and what we've been able to continue to do in activating one of the world's best advanced manufacturing military vehicle centres of excellence. It is the best factory in Rheinmetall's global portfolio today, and employing already well over 300 people here on site. We have already awarded millions of dollars into Queensland companies in the last 6 months associated with our current programs, and we continue to look for and award work to Queensland companies and employ Queenslanders to be involved in what will be a long-term defence industry here in Australia. The Memorandum of Understanding we've signed today really signifies the strength of that partnership and what we have been able to create already as a foundation for a skilled workforce, a skilled industrial base that is able to build the best capabilities for the Australian Defence Force, and also to contribute to the strong economic recovery and growth of Queensland. It's also got a very strong skilling and trades approach, and it is with delight that we have hosted 16 high school students from 6 local high schools to show them that the vocational training program that is being instigated by the Queensland Government to bring them into vocational trade training sooner, and connecting them to the apprenticeship program and the partnership we already enjoy with Queensland TAFE to provide and show how we can provide a very clear pathway into rich and rewarding careers, whether it's professional or vocational professions. That's how we build a sustainable and enduring economic base and foundation for Queensland and for Australia. Premier, I thank you for your passion and your support in believing in this partnership, in backing Queenslanders and backing jobs for Queenslanders.
So that is a wonderful gesture there, that backing Queenslanders and backing the workforce, backing the manufacturing sector with this very, very important MOU, which will see that many jobs created here locally, and that is a wonderful news, because as we know, our industrial and looking at the manufacturing sector especially, which has always taken a big blow, competing with the overseas workforce, we have not been able to compete and produce things which are which can be competitive in a world marketplace, which is very hard because Australians do enjoy a very good lifestyle and a good job security. So wages are of very high standard compared to many other countries in the world. Well, of course, whether or not the minimum wage should be increased or not is another debate. But if you compare it today with many other countries in the world, Australian labour force are enjoying a much better conditions and much better pay than many of the other countries. So, creating jobs, and especially in the manufacturing sector, which has always suffered a big loss, I think that is a very, very good move by the Premier for backing up such a project and signing up that MOU, the ever important MOU, which is very good. And also, I'd like to thank Usha Chandra for coming in on behalf of GOPIO Queensland and filling us in on what's going to happen at the fundraising dinner that they have organized for this Friday, which is much needed to host the iconic India Day Fair. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's getting very close to that time to say goodbye. But before we do that, let's take a very quick look at what's happening in Queensland, here in Brisbane and Queensland, of course, event-wise. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, all the functions and events are taking place in and around. And don't forget that if you have missed any of that, you can always go back and have a look on our webpage and, of course, on our Facebook page and on YouTube channel as well. Once again, I'd like to thank you all. It's so good to see you every day, all the time. It is wonderful that, the support that we get. And, of course, I'd like to place on record my appreciation for all the groups, Facebook group or WhatsApp groups as well, where the admins allow us to share our news feed with their members, because what's the use of having a lot of members if you're not able to share news and features with them? Congratulations and thank you very much for all the groups that do allow us to do that. Really appreciate that. Well, that's all for me from today. Enjoy the rest of the day, whatever's left of it, do take care and always remain safe. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye.